The seconds are out. The crowd is waiting. The boxers are getting ready to battle. Time for another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast with your presenter, Greg Rashid.
Well, I want to say sweaty club to everyone out there, which means hello and Thai. If you're new to the program, this is Greg Rashid, your presenter with another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast, based here in Bangkok, Thailand. Hope you're having a wonderful day, night, wherever you are in the universe. And I want to say, as always, a special hi to all my friends who listen every Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Mountain Time on KUHSdenver.com, created by the one and only Henry Archuleta. And I keep saying I'm coming back to Colorado at some point. I am. I got to come and visit. But anyway, I'm here in Thailand right now with another edition of the program. And I got to say, I'm taping this on July the 21st, and we had an amazing weekend of boxing. And if you're listening to this program, you're a boxing fan, you're a boxing aficionado, you love it, you love this sport, and my goodness, I mean, it was something. Oleksandr Usyk, who's going to be featured on this show today, he knocked out Daniel Dubois, which we predicted on this program last week. I said it's going to be a quick knockout inside of 5 rounds, and actually I said inside of 4 rounds, and it happened in the 5th round. Also, we saw the return of Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios. And I got to say, he looked good. And I'm talking about Pacquiao considering, but I hope, although he's talking about he wants a rematch with Barrios, I hope he just retires. But I know he has some issues right now he's trying to deal with in the Philippines as far as money management and all, so he's going to keep on fighting. He's challenging Floyd Mayweather Jr. to fight him again, and I don't know. You know, he should retire, but if he looked good the other night. You know, Barrios, I will say this, though, Barrios did give him a hard time in the last round, the 12th round. And I don't know. They're going to have a rematch because it's all about money. It's all about that. So they'll do that again. Also, there were so many fights. Sebastian Fedor, he beat TKO Tim Tszyu in their rematch. And basically, Tim Tszyu decided he wasn't coming out for the 7th round, and he sat on the stool. You know, Fedor is improving. You know, a lot of folks still have their doubts about him. There's a way to beat him. I mean, God, he's 6'6". His stomach is waiting for you to hit. I mean, that's all you got to do, pound him in the body. But, Tim Tszyu tried to do that, but it'll take another type of fighter to do that. But we'll see. But right now, he's champion, and he's good. He's good. He's really improving. But it was just a great week of boxing. And to celebrate Usyk winning and becoming the undisputed world heavyweight champion, we're going to do for our fantasy fight. And by the way, I got to say this, housekeeping. If you're new to the program, what we do on here is fantasy fights. We take different computer games, card and dice games, mix it up, and we create fantasy fights. And today our fantasy fight comes from Glory Days Boxing Card and Dice Game by Lee Anthony Crooks. And what we're doing today, we're going to have Oleksandr Usyk versus Evander Holyfield. And why I did that, because after the fight, a lot of pundits were saying, he kind of reminds me, Usyk kind of reminds me of Evander Holyfield. He doesn't remind me of Evander because, first of all, Evander wasn't a southpaw, which Usyk is, but I know Evander would do that in and out thing that Usyk does, but Usyk does it a different way. I'm still trying to figure out who he reminds me of. I've never seen a heavyweight fight like that. I'm trying to, I'm going through old, film and all, trying to figure it out. But anyway, we're going to do a 10-rounder today. Usyk versus Holyfield, and after that we'll have boxing history, current boxing news, and also a little music at the end because this is a boxing variety show. But right now, we're going to get to the boxing in the ring with the one and only Knockout Nigel. Take it away, Knockout.
Cheers, fight fans. This is Knockout Nigel, your humble commentator, broadcasting live from the hallowed halls of Madison Square Garden, where history is about to unfold before our very eyes. The atmosphere here is absolutely electric. You can feel the tension, the anticipation, the raw energy pulsating through this legendary arena. In the blue corner, we have a man who needs no introduction, a living legend, a warrior who has stared down the most ferocious heavyweights of his era and emerged victorious, Evander, the real deal Holyfield. At 58 years young, he's stepping back into the ring, defying age, defying logic, with that same iron will that carried him to 4 world titles. His resume reads like a who's who of boxing. Tyson, Bowe, Lewis, he's faced them all, and tonight he steps into the ring one more time to prove that heart knows no age. And in the red corner we have the modern-day maestro, the Ukrainian virtuoso, Oleksandr Usyk. The undisputed heavyweight king, an Olympic gold medalist, a man who moves like a ballet dancer but hits like a freight train. This is a clash of eras, a battle of wits and wills, old school versus new school, power versus precision, experience versus evolution. The bell is about to sound, and when it does, we are in for something truly special. The bell rings, and Holyfield bursts out of his corner like a man possessed. He's not here to feel things out, he's here to make a statement. Immediately, he's cutting off the ring, forcing Usyk to the ropes, and bam! That left jab is already finding its mark. Snap, snap, snap. Usyk tries to circle away, but Holyfield is relentless, cutting off every angle. Another jab lands flush on Usyk's left eye, and the crowd roars as the Ukrainian blinks hard, shaking his head. Holyfield smells blood. He feints, steps in, and crack! A monstrous overhand right grazes Usyk's temple. Usyk stumbles, regains his footing, but Holyfield is already on him, digging a brutal left hook to the body that makes Usyk exhale sharply. Usyk, ever the tactician, tries to reset, flicking out a few jabs of his own, but Holyfield parries them with ease. Then, a blatant low blow from Usyk. The referee steps in immediately, warning the Ukrainian, but Holyfield just glares, refusing to take time. He waves the ref off. He wants to fight. The crowd is on their feet as Holyfield storms forward again, landing another stiff jab that sends a spray of sweat flying from Usyk's brow. The bell sounds, and Holyfield marches back to his corner with a look of absolute determination. Usyk's left eye is already swelling, and he's breathing hard. A dominant opening. Usyk comes out much more cautious this round, his feet constantly moving, trying to keep Holyfield at bay with his jab. But Holyfield is patient now, measuring his shots, conserving energy. He feints, steps in, and lands a sharp right hand to the ribs that makes Usyk wince. Usyk responds with a quick 1-2, but Holyfield blocks most of it, countering with a thudding left hook that lands high on Usyk's head. The Ukrainian resets, circling, trying to find an opening, but Holyfield's defense is tight, his high guard deflecting most of Usyk's flicking jabs. Midway through the round, Usyk starts to find a bit of rhythm, landing a crisp straight left that snaps Holyfield's head back. The crowd gasps, but Holyfield just grins and fires back with a thunderous right hand that sends Usyk reeling into the ropes. The Ukrainian regains his footing quickly, but Holyfield is on him, digging another brutal left hook to the body. Usyk clinches, trying to smother the attack, but Holyfield muscles him off and lands a sneaky uppercut on the break. The final minute is a tactical battle. Usyk lands a few clean shots, but Holyfield's power punches clearly have more impact. Another close round, but Holyfield edges it. 10-9. Holyfield's corner must have told him to target that swollen left eye, because he comes out jabbing with bad intentions. Snap, 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 each one landing with precision, each one making Usyk blink harder. The Ukrainian tries to counter with a sharp right hook, but Holyfield slips it beautifully and counters with a crushing overhand right that lands flush. Usyk stumbles, gloves high, but Holyfield smells blood. He's swarming now. Left hook to the body, right uppercut upstairs. Usyk is in full retreat, trying to clinch, but Holyfield won't let him breathe. Another vicious body shot doubles Usyk over slightly, and the crowd is roaring. Usyk, to his credit, survives the onslaught, resetting in the final 30 seconds. He lands a few quick jabs, but Holyfield just walks through them, unfazed. The bell sounds, and Holyfield stalks back to his corner like a predator who knows his prey is wounded. Usyk's left eye is now a swollen mess, and he's breathing heavily through his mouth. Another dominant round for Holyfield. 10-9. The bell rings for the fourth, and Usyk comes out like a man possessed. Clearly his corner lit a fire under him between rounds as he's bouncing on his toes, hands pumping like pistons. He starts flicking that razor-sharp jab out. Pop, pop, pop. Holyfield eats the first two, but the third snaps his head back. The crowd roars as Usyk follows up with a lightning three-punch combination, left to the body, right hook upstairs, then a stinging straight left that lands flush on Holyfield. Holyfield tries to respond with one of his trademark overhand rights, but Usyk slips it beautifully, pivoting to his left and cracking Holyfield with a counter right hook that sends sweat flying. The Ukrainian is fighting like a man who knows he's down on the cards, his footwork absolutely mesmerizing as he glides around the ring. Holyfield bulls forward, trying to trap him against the ropes, but Usyk spins off like a top, landing a brutal left to the liver that makes Holyfield grimace. The final minute sees Usyk land a gorgeous four-punch combination, every shot landing clean as a whistle. Holyfield's corner is screaming instructions, but their man looks momentarily bewildered by Usyk's sudden onslaught. The bell sounds, and Usyk struts back to his corner with renewed confidence. 10-9 Usyk in a dominant round. A slower, more tactical round begins with both men circling cautiously. Holyfield's nose is still leaking blood as he wipes at it with his glove. Usyk feints with his shoulders, trying to draw a reaction, but Holyfield isn't biting. The crowd starts to murmur as the first 45 seconds pass without significant action. Suddenly, Usyk darts in with a piston-like jab that finds Holyfield's swollen left eye. The real deal responds by clubbing a right hand over Usyk's guard that partially lands on the temple. The Ukrainian shakes it off and immediately clinches, leaning his full weight on Holyfield, clearly trying to sap the older man's energy. The referee breaks them, and Holyfield comes forward behind a double jab, but Usyk expertly parries both and counters with a stinging right hook. They fall into a clinch again, and Holyfield lands two short, thudding uppercuts to Usyk's ribs that draw a grunt. The action slows again as they jockey for position, both looking for openings. With 30 seconds left, Usyk lands a beautiful check left hook as Holyfield steps in, snapping his head sideways. Holyfield responds by finally landing his signature overhand right that grazes Usyk's ear, sending him stumbling back a step. The round ends with both men trading jabs at center ring. A close round, but Usyk's cleaner, punching edges it. 10-9 Usyk. Usyk comes out for the sixth, looking fresh as a daisy, bouncing on his toes, while Holyfield seems to be breathing just a bit heavier. The Ukrainian starts the round with a dazzling display of footwork, pivoting left and right, making Holyfield reset constantly. He lands a sharp 1-2 that snaps Holyfield's head back, then follows with a vicious left to the body. Holyfield tries to respond, but swings at air as Usyk slips under and counters with a right hook-left straight combination that lands flush. The crowd is on their feet as Usyk turns up the heat. His punches come. Holyfield's corner is screaming for him to cut off the ring, but Usyk's lateral movement is absolutely masterful. Every time Holyfield thinks he has him cornered, Usyk spins away or ducks under, landing sharp counters on the way out. With a minute left, Usyk lands a picture-perfect straight left that buckles Holyfield's knees. The crowd erupts as the veteran wobbles, gloves high in survival mode. Usyk pounces, unleashing a furious flurry, but Holyfield somehow weathers the storm, clinching desperately when he can. The bell saves him, but it was a dominant round for Usyk. 10-9, and suddenly this fight is turning. Holyfield comes out for the seventh with his face a mask of determination, knowing he needs to turn this around. His corner worked furiously on his swollen left eye between rounds. He starts the round aggressively, marching forward behind a stiff jab. Usyk tries to circle away, but Holyfield cuts him off and lands a thudding right to the body that makes the Ukrainian exhale sharply. Usyk responds with a quick 1-2, but Holyfield eats them and keeps coming, landing a clubbing right hand over the top that partially gets through. The action slows midway through as both men grapple in the clinch, each trying to gain positional advantage. Holyfield lands two sneaky uppercuts to the ribs, while Usyk peppers short hooks to the body. When they separate, Usyk lands a crisp three-punch combination, but Holyfield walks through them, firing back with a massive overhand right that just grazes Usyk's temple. The final minute sees both men trading in close quarters, neither gaining a clear advantage. The crowd gives them a standing ovation as the bell sounds. A close round that could go either way, but Usyk's cleaner combinations might have stolen it. 10-9 Usyk. The eighth begins with Holyfield looking to his corner for guidance, his breathing visibly heavier now. Usyk senses this and immediately goes on the attack, firing sharp jabs to the body and head. Holyfield tries to counter, but his punches are just a half-beat slower than earlier in the fight. Usyk lands a beautiful left-right-left combination that snaps Holyfield's head back violently. The real deal shakes it off and responds with a thudding right to the body that momentarily stops Usyk in his tracks. The middle of the round becomes a tactical battle with lots of feints and half-steps as both men look for openings. Usyk starts doubling up on his jab, using it to set up his straight left. Holyfield tries to time a counter right, but Usyk sees it coming and slips it, countering with a stinging right hook. With 30 seconds left, Holyfield lands his best punch of the round, a massive overhand right that lands flush on Usyk's jaw. The Ukrainian's legs wobble momentarily, but he quickly clinches and... The championship rounds begin, with Holyfield knowing he likely needs a knockout. He comes out aggressively, stalking Usyk around the ring. The Ukrainian is content to circle away, picking his shots carefully. Holyfield lands a solid jab that snaps Usyk's head back, then follows with a right hand that partially gets through. Usyk responds with a quick three-punch combination to the body that makes Holyfield grimace. Midway through the round, Holyfield traps Usyk against the ropes and unleashes a furious combination. Left hook to the body, right uppercut, left hook upstairs. The crowd erupts as Usyk eats them all and fires back with a sharp counter right hook. The action becomes more intense as both men trade in close quarters, neither willing to give an inch. With a minute left, Usyk lands a beautiful straight left that stops Holyfield in his tracks, followed by a right hook that sends sweat flying. Holyfield responds by digging two brutal hooks to Usyk's ribs that make the Ukrainian exhale sharply. The final 30 seconds sees both men trading heavy leather until the bell sounds. Another close round, but Usyk's cleaner punches likely stole it. 10-9 Usyk. The final round begins with Holyfield coming out like a man possessed, knowing he needs something special. He storms across the ring and lands a massive overhand right that lands flush on Usyk's jaw. The Ukrainian stumbles back, his legs momentarily unsteady as the crowd roars. Holyfield smells blood and unleashes a furious assault, driving Usyk back with a barrage of power punches. Usyk covers up smartly, weathering the storm, then suddenly counters with a sharp left-right combination that stops Holyfield's advance. Midway through the round, Holyfield starts to slow, his punches losing some of their snap. Usyk senses this and turns up the pressure, landing crisp combinations to both body and head. A beautiful four-punch combination snaps Holyfield's head back violently. The real deal fires back with everything he has left, landing a thudding right to the body that makes Usyk wince. The final minute sees both men trading furiously in the center of the ring, neither willing to concede an inch. The crowd is on their feet as the final bell sounds, both warriors raising their arms in victory. What a fight! 10-9 Usyk in the final round. As the crowd falls silent as the ring announcer prepares to read the scores. The first judge's card, 98-95, Holyfield. A gasp goes through the crowd. That's a wide card. The second judge, 96-94, Usyk. It all comes down to the third judge, 96-94, Usyk. Your winner, by split decision, Oleksandr Usyk. The Ukrainian jumps for joy as Holyfield nods in respect. Usyk immediately goes to Holyfield and embraces the legend, whispering something in his ear. Holyfield raises Usyk's hand, showing the class of a true champion. What a fight we've witnessed here tonight at Madison Square Garden, a true clash of eras, a battle for the ages. I will now return you to our Bangkok studios. This is Knockout Nigel. Cheers.
That was a good fight there, I must admit. And, I don't usually brag about the fights, but that was a good one. And I could actually see that happening because Usyk, I'm not going to, well, actually, I'm beginning more and more to think that he should be ranked, at least in the top 15 of all-time heavyweights. And that might change as we go along in the next year or so. But the one thing he's done, great heavyweights, they clean out their division. They beat everyone they put in front of him. He's done that. And the fact that he was a cruiserweight and has gone up to heavyweight and done this, it's amazing. It's something. But what do you think? Where do you rank Oleksandr Usyk right now as far as all-time heavyweights? It may be too soon, but thus far, he has done what you expect of a great champion. He's beaten everyone. And even at the age of 38, I mean, he looked better, actually, against Dubois. And I really like Daniel Dubois on the one hand. I really like his sister, Carolyn. Oh, she can battle. But on the other hand, I could see, and that's why I put that prediction out that he was going to get knocked out early. Because I looked at his eyes during the press conferences, during the weigh-ins and all that. He just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. I could see someone who was really just hesitant. You could see that. But anyway, thank you again, Knockout Nigel, for that commentary. Right now we're going to get to Kiki, our ring card girl. She's going to give us the boxing news for the week. And we're getting into August now. My goodness. But anyway, let's hear Kiki on the Shoulder Room Virtual Boxing Podcast.
This is Kiki, your ring card girl, with your boxing history for the week of July 27th through August 2nd. July 27th, 1921. Johnny Wilson retained the world middleweight title with a 7th-round disqualification win over William Bryan Downey. July 28th, 2001. Roy Jones Jr. defended the WBC, WBA, and IBF light heavyweight titles against Julio Cesar Gonzalez. July 29th, 1751. The first international world title prize fight. Jack Stack of England defeated challenger M. Petit of France in 29 minutes. July 30th, 1977. Carlos Monzon retained his world middleweight championship against Rodrigo Valdez in their rematch. July 31st, 2010. Juan Manuel Marquez defeated Juan Diaz for a second time to retain his WBO lightweight title and to win the WBA Super World Lightweight title. August 1st, 1987. Mike Tyson defeated Tony Tucker to become undisputed world heavyweight champion. August 2nd, 1980. Thomas Hearns became WBA world welterweight champion, knocking out Pipino Cuevas in 2 rounds.
Thank you so much for that, Kiki. And be quiet over there. Again, Malcolm and Ella, they're getting into it, and they want to talk a little more about that first international boxing match between Stack and Petit, and that was 1751, as Kiki just mentioned, in July. And so, okay, y'all can talk about it. So let me have my little AI friends, Malcolm and Ella, talk about that fight from 1751. So let's hear that on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Imagine this scene. It's July 29th, 1751. Picture the English countryside. Really misty, early morning. And you hear these carriages, maybe 24 of them, rattling, slowing down as they turn off the main road. They're heading onto some muddy track.
Okay.
Inside, you've got these wealthy passengers, right? And they're clutching purses stuffed with gold. They've snuck out here because whatever is about to happen is totally illegal.
Like clandestine.
Exactly. And they get to the edge of this fallow field, and there's just a rope strung between a few wooden posts. That's the ring.
Wow. So simple.
And inside, 2 men are about to fight. But it's not just about the money, huge sums of money, but it's about something, well, way bigger. It's about national pride. England versus France.
It's an incredible image, isn't it? And what's so fascinating, really, is that we're talking about the story of, well, arguably the first international boxing match in history.
The very first one.
Yeah. And even though it was secret, underground, brutal, it really did lay the groundwork for how we think about international sports today.
And that connection, that's exactly what we want to unpack here. Our mission for this deep dive is to get into the sources, see what they tell us about the raw brutality, the surprising little details, and figure out the lasting impact of this one secret fight, how it shaped this whole idea of international sport, and maybe even more importantly, national identity wrapped up in competition.
Absolutely. It's a pivotal moment.
So who were these 2 men, the ones about to step into this makeshift ring?
Well, in one corner, you had England's champion, Jack Stack, a really powerful, formidable guy.
Okay, the English champion. And facing him?
Facing him was Jean Petit, the Frenchman. Agile, quick, and he came with, let's say, a bit of a dark reputation already.
Intriguing. Okay, let's dig into this setting first, this fallow field. Just a rope between posts, no stadium, nothing grand. What does that venue itself tell us? What kind of atmosphere would that create?
Well, it screams underground, doesn't it? Completely unregulated.
Yeah.
I mean, this wasn't some officially sanctioned event. So the rawness of it, the simplicity, just a field, some rope, it really underlines how illicit it all was.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the crowd's energy. Intense, almost primal maybe, knowing they were witnessing something forbidden. High stakes, lots of betting, no doubt.
Definitely. And then the fighters.
Yeah.
Jack Stack, the English champ. The sources paint quite a picture. 200 pounds of London muscle.
Big guy.
Huge. Knuckles scarred from a dozen back alley brawls. Apparently he fought like a butcher chopping meat. Just sheer force.
Yeah, he was the classic English brawler. Brute strength, power, probably incredible endurance. But then the contrast with Jean Petit, it's really stark.
How so?
Petit is described totally differently. Fox-faced, quick feet, hands like whips. But the crucial thing, the absolute game changer, was his training.
Which was?
Savate, the French art of foot fighting. kicking.
Ah, so not just fists.
Exactly, which was incredibly unusual, maybe even unthinkable for what the English considered boxing at the time. And then there was that rumor.
The dark reputation you mentioned.
Yeah, this chilling rumor that he once killed a man with a single kick to the throat. Whether true or not, it adds this layer of menace. A very different kind of fighter than Stack.
Wow. Okay, so that sets up this incredible clash of styles. Power versus agility, fists versus, well, feet too. And the rules. You mentioned unregulated, but were there any rules?
Barely. The sources are clear. No gloves, no referee.
Nothing.
Almost nothing. Just the three basic stipulations seem to have been agreed upon. No biting, no eye gouging.
Okay, some limits.
Very basic limits.
And the third rule was crucial for the pacing. When a man falls, he gets 30 seconds to stand.
30 seconds? That's a long time.
A very long time by modern standards. It allowed for recovery, but it also meant the potential for prolonged beatings. Brutal. And the signal to start, no bell, just a silver pocket watch snapping open.
Simple. Stark. It really emphasizes the raw nature of it all. That lack of rules, it wasn't about fairness like we think of it now, was it? Not at all. It was about endurance, punishment, raw willpower. Spectacle, really. These rules, or the lack thereof, they prioritize just basic survival over safety. It's much closer to a street fight, a really different world from modern combat sports.
Okay, so the watch snaps open, fight starts, and Petit strikes first. But maybe not how Stack expected.
Definitely not. The sources say he opened with a spinning kick that cracked against Stack's ribs.
A kick straight away.
Straight away. And you can just imagine the reaction from the English side of the crowd. Pure outrage, shouts of cheat.
Right, because that wasn't boxing to them.
Exactly. Petit immediately used his savate background, something completely foreign to the English idea of a fistfight. So that kick, it wasn't just a blow to Stack, it was a violation of their unwritten rules, their cultural understanding of the contest. It instantly created that friction, that sense of a foul, a clash of fighting cultures right from the first second.
But Stack, being the tough brawler, he apparently just grinned. Through bloody teeth, it says, and waded in.
Took the shot, kept coming. Classic Stack, presumably. And then he landed his own blow. A big one.
What happened?
The sources describe it vividly. See Arksik. A right hand sends Petit's head snapping back. You can almost feel that impact.
Oof. So Petit's agility wasn't enough there.
He was staggered, definitely, but not out. He apparently dances away, flicking jabs like a duelist's rapier. So you see that dynamic immediately play out. Stack's raw power connecting, but Petit using his movement, his speed, trying to stick and move.
It really becomes this, dance of opposites, as you said, power versus precision.
Absolutely. And it wasn't quick. The sources talk about a grinding battle. By the third knockdown, the field is churned to mud.
Third knockdown?
Yeah, these guys are taking incredible punishment, both of them. It says Stack's left eye swells shut, and Petit's nose is a shattered mess. This wasn't just about skill. It was pure attrition, pushing their bodies to the absolute limit.
Just brutal. How did it finally end? There had to be a turning point.
There was. It seems Stack eventually managed to neutralize Petit's movement. He corners Petit against an oak tree and goes to work.
Trapped him.
Exactly. Cut off the ring, or, the field.
Yeah.
Pinned him against that tree. And then it was just overwhelming force. The description is grimly specific.
What did he do?
Left hook to the liver, right uppercut to the jaw, body shot, then the head shot.
Oh.
Fight-ending combination.
And that was it.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
It says the Frenchman's knees buckle, and then this incredible image. A tooth arcs through the morning sun.
Wow.
Petit goes down. Yeah. He tries to get up. He has that 30 seconds, but he just can't make it. His seconds, his cornermen, to see it's over, they throw in the towel. Or, whatever, pass for a towel then.
Yeah.
A coat, maybe.
A clear end to the fight itself, but not the end of the story, right? What happened with the crowd?
Oh, it completely kicked off. The English side naturally erupted. Cheers, celebrating their champion.
But the French?
Furious.
Yeah.
Screaming foul. Instantly crying cheat. They claim Stack had loaded wraps, like he'd put something hard inside his hand wrappings.
Ah, okay. Plausible, maybe? In an unregulated fight?
Possible. Or just an accusation born of frustration. Others apparently claimed Petit was poisoned before the fight. Anything to dispute the loss. It immediately became more than just a fight outcome. It was an international incident brewing right there in the mud.
So the conflict just spilled out of the ropes.
Completely. The sources say gentlemen draw swords, coachmen swing whips. It turned into a massive brawl between the supporters.
Unbelievable. It wasn't just Stack versus Petite anymore.
Not at all. It was England versus France, playing out right there among the spectators. It was all about national pride, perceived slights, defending honor. That reaction is almost as significant as the fight itself.
And while all this chaos is erupting, what happens to Stack?
He makes a quick exit. By nightfall, he was apparently galloping toward London, a purse of gold sewn into his coat.
Took the money and ran.
Pretty much. Left the chaos behind. Which again underlines the illicit nature of it all, but also shows how quickly it became about more than just the purse for everyone else. That intense, violent reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what cemented this fight in history.
And what happened to these two men later? Their fates seem kind of grim, too.
They are. Stack, the winner, didn't exactly enjoy a long retirement. He died just 8 years later in a pub knife fight.
So violence followed him.
It seems so. And Petite. He just vanished into the alleys of Marseille. Disappeared from the records.
So neither became, like, celebrated national heroes in the way we might think today.
Not really. They were footnotes, almost legendary figures from a brutal era. Yet their fight, that bloody dance in that field, as the source puts it, it changed fighting forever.
How so? What was the big shift?
It was the motivation.
Oh, why?
For the first time, really, fists had flown, and feet too. In Petite's case, not just for money or a local reputation, but for a nation's pride.
Ah, that's the key.
That's the absolute core of it. That shift from personal gain to national representation fundamentally changed the landscape. It wasn't just about the individual fighter anymore. They were symbols. The intensity of the crowd, the accusations, the brawl afterwards, it all points to this being a foundational moment for international sporting rivalry as we know it.
So, wrapping this up, this single, brutal, frankly illegal fight back in the 18th century, hidden away in an English field, it really set the stage for modern international sports, where national pride is such a massive driver.
Absolutely. It laid that groundwork. All the passion, the rivalry, the feeling that the athletes are carrying the hopes of a nation. You can trace a line back to events like this.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Consider how that one bare-knuckle brawl soaked in secrecy in this raw national antagonism.
Yeah.
How it foreshadowed the huge global sporting events we see today.
Yeah, the Olympics, the World Cup. That intense nationalistic feeling around them.
How those primal roots that need to compete for the tribe, for the nation, just continue to resonate. From a muddy field in 1751 to the giant stadiums of today, it's quite a thought to leave folks with.
It really is a powerful legacy from a brutal beginning.
Thank you for that, Malcolm and Ella. Although there's one thing they just missed. I mean, you're talking the Olympics dating back before Christ. You're talking about that. And that was, I wouldn't say international, but it was competition, territories and all. And then you look at what was going on with various martial arts in Asia, South America, prior to the 18th century. I mean, this stuff that went way back, but that was a good report. I give them that. And now they want to talk about, okay, before we do that, I want to say a little housekeeping again. If you haven't done so, please go to patreon.com, support this program by, $1 or so. Go to patreon.com, look for Ringside Fantasy Fights and News, and consider, as so many other people have done, $1 a month. Whatever you can do so we can get a better microphone, keep the lights on, just keep things going because we want the show to be as professional as possible. Thank you for that. And now, Malcolm and Ella are going to talk about what's next for Usyk. Who should he fight next? So let's hear that on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. You know that feeling, right? That buzz in the air after a massive fight. Well, just try and picture yourself right there, Wembley Stadium, soaking it all in just moments after Oleksandr Usyk's pretty magnificent round 5 demolition of Daniel Dubois. What a performance.
Oh, absolutely dominant. You felt it right through the screen, didn't you?
Totally. And we're talking about a genuine titan here. Usyk isn't just a great fighter anymore. People are calling him a generational great, maybe the best heavyweight since Lennox Lewis.
And you can see why. Undisputed champion, cruiserweight first, now heavyweight. That's rare air.
It really is. 24 fights, 24 wins, 15 KOs. And look who he's beaten. Fury, Dubois, Anthony Joshua. All of them twice. I mean, that kind of record, it kind of speaks for itself, wouldn't you say?
It absolutely does. He's cemented a legacy that most fighters can only dream about. He's really set a new standard.
So, okay, he's just done this incredible thing. Again, the big question we're diving into today is, well, who's next? What does the undisputed champ do now?
Right. The boxing world is buzzing with that exact question. And the sources, well, they paint a few different, pretty compelling pictures.
It really raises that classic boxing dilemma, doesn't it? Does he go for the biggest money fights, the ones maybe the casual fans want, or does he stick to the more traditional path, the mandatories?
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack everything what the promoters are saying, what Usyk himself has said to help you understand the arguments for each potential opponent and, you know, why this choice really matters. Not just for Usyk's career, but kind of for boxing history itself.
Okay, let's get into it. First, maybe just a quick look back at that Dubois fight. You called it dominant. The sources say utterly imperious. That brutal left hand in the fifth.
Wow. Yeah, and the stats back it up, right? CompuBox had Usyk landing, 57 of 153? That's over 37%.
Well, Dubois was under 20%, landed only 35 punches.
Well, it showed the levels.
It really did. A proper masterclass. Now, after a win like that, you might expect him to be calling someone out immediately, you know, right? Like, bring on the next guy.
But actually, his first comments were quite different. He basically said, I want to rest. He talked about his family, his wife, his kids, said he needs 2 or 3 months just to rest.
Yeah, and he also talked about that mindset of his. It's fascinating. He says he doesn't really rely on motivation.
Oh, the discipline thing.
Right, exactly. He says motivation comes and goes, but discipline. That's what gets him up for training every single day, even when he doesn't feel like it. 3.5 months in camp, away from everyone. That takes serious discipline.
It totally does. That's probably why he's achieved what he has, that focus. But even with wanting rest, he did kind of give us a little short list, didn't he? Knowing the questions would come.
He did. 4 names. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, and Joseph Parker.
And it's interesting, isn't it? 3 of those 4 guys, he's already beaten. Some of them twice.
Right. Which leads us straight into the debate. Who should it be? Now, for me, if you look at the immediate situation, the rules, the official stuff, it points pretty strongly towards Joseph Parker.
Okay, the mandatory argument.
Exactly. Parker is the WBO mandatory challenger. And Usyk's own promoter, Frank Warren, was very clear straight after the fight. He said, and I'm quoting here, the WBO say he has to fight Joseph Parker next, so that will be the fight.
That is a strong statement from his own promoter. Can't ignore that.
It's pretty direct, right? And Parker isn't just some guy filling a mandatory spot. He's actually on a serious roll.
Yeah, he's looked really good lately.
He's in the best form of his life, people are saying. Look at the recent wins. Deontay Wilder, Zhilei Zhang, Martin Pololi. Those are solid names.
Impressive, yeah. Can't deny that.
And let's not forget, he's held that WBO belt before, beat Andy Ruiz for it back in 2016. His promoter, David Higgins, is making noise too. Says it would be an outrage if Parker doesn't get the shot.
He's pushing hard for his guy. Makes sense.
Higgins even said Usyk has to beat Joseph Parker as well to really claim he's the best of this era because he hasn't fought him yet. And honestly, for you listening, wouldn't a fresh matchup, someone Usyk hasn't faced before, be more interesting right now instead of another rerun?
That's a very fair point about a fresh challenge. And Parker's resurgence is definitely real. He's earned his spot, no doubt. But let's be honest about heavyweight boxing, the biggest fights. They don't always follow the mandatory path, do they?
You mean the money talks?
Well, yeah. You just cannot ignore the sheer public demand for AJ versus Fury, even though Usyk beat both of them twice. Eddie Hearn still calls it the biggest fight in boxing, what everyone in the world wants to see.
Even now, after Usyk schooled them both.
Even now, the commercial appeal is just massive. And look at Fury himself. Technically retired, but still calling Usyk out, talking about a trilogy fight in, April 2026?
Yeah, I saw that.
So for Usyk, maybe it's not just about the WBO belt. Maybe it's about the spectacle, the history, frankly, the massive payday those fights bring.
Okay, but where does sporting merit fit in? I mean, ESPN had a pretty cutting take on Parker. They said, it is hard to envisage how a resurgent Parker will threaten Usyk's legacy. They basically said Usyk's skills are just on another level.
That's a tough assessment from ESPN. Ouch.
So, If Usyk wants to be seen as an all-time great, shouldn't he be taking the toughest available challenge, not just the biggest payday against guys he's already handled?
That's the purest argument, and it's strong. But here's another angle. What if Usyk, who, sometimes seems to listen to what the public wants, what if he's tempted by that spectacle? Or what about a totally different kind of challenge?
What do you mean?
Think about Turkey Usyk, the man basically bankrolling big-time boxing right now. His opinion carries a lot of weight, and he didn't say Fury or Joshua. He said, I want to see Usyk against Itoma. This is the fight.
Moses Itoma. Wow, okay. The young British prospect.
Exactly. Moses Itoma, rising star, blistering fighting style, people comparing him to a young Mike Tyson. He's 12-0, 10 KOs.
But come on, he hasn't fought anyone near Usyk's level yet. Is that a serious suggestion for next?
Maybe not purely on competitive merit for the very next fight, I grant you that, but think strategically. Usyk's hinted he might only have 2 more fights left. Does he take the mandatory Parker fight now? Or does he look at the bigger picture, a massive Fury trilogy? Or maybe something like Itoma, a new, exciting face, a potential passing of the torch kind of fight. That offers a different kind of legacy boost, maybe. And a different kind of payday, too.
The next generation angle.
Yeah. And remember, Usyk himself put Fury and Joshua on his own list, so he's clearly thinking about those big names, too. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What matters most to him right now? The rules, the money, the legacy, a new challenge.
It's that constant battle in boxing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got the governing bodies, the WBO saying Parker's next. He's earned it. He's the mandatory.
Or the official route.
Then you've got the huge commercial appeal of Fury or AJ, even his rematches. And then this wild card, Itema, pushed by a major financial backer. It's a tricky spot for a champion.
It really is. And the fact Usyk said he wants to rest first just adds to the intrigue. It gives all these different factors time to bubble up and play out. Keeps us all guessing.
So if we try and pull all these threads together, Usyk wanting rest, the mandatory situation, the promoters, the other big names, what's the most likely scenario for his very next fight?
Well, look, while Fury and AJ are always going to be huge potential fights down the road, and Itoma is definitely an exciting name for the future, that immediate pressure from the WBO, plus Frank Warren coming out so strongly, it really does seem to point towards Joseph Parker being the most probable immediate next opponent.
I think I have to agree with that. At the end of the day, Parker is the mandatory. Usyk's own promoter publicly backed that fight happening next. The WBO say he has to fight Joseph Parker next, so that will be the fight.
Yep.
It feels like the most logical, most immediate step based on everything we know right now. It fits the rules, it fits what the promoter said, and Parker's on Usyk's list.
It's the most straightforward path, really. Doesn't mean it's the only path he could take, but it seems the most likely one, given the current boxing politics.
Okay, so just to recap our deep dive for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Weighing all the sources, the arguments, the mandates. We've landed on Joseph Parker as the consensus pick for Usyk's next opponent.
Seems the probable outcome in the short term, yeah. The WBO mandate and Warren's statement are pretty compelling evidence for now.
And, Usyk's place in history, it's already secure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Undisputed in 2 weights, beating the best. It's incredible.
Absolutely. And whoever he fights next, Parker, Fury again later, maybe Itoma, eventually it just adds another chapter to that amazing story.
Definitely. But here's something maybe to leave you, the listener, thinking about. Usyk's nearing the end, maybe just a couple more fights. That Fury trilogy is apparently penciled in for 2026.
Right. So, the final thought is this. Will these last few fights, whatever they turn out to be, elevate him even higher? Could he actually end up being argued as the greatest heavyweight of all time? Better than the Klitschko's, right up there at the very, very top.
Something to ponder while we wait to see who he actually steps in the ring with next.
What the heck is Ella talking about? Better than the Klitschko's? Wait a minute. There's a guy who was considered the greatest of all time. He called himself the greatest. Ella, we're going to have a conversation about Muhammad Ali. You say you know a little boxing, but that showed me you don't know anything yet. The Klitschko's? And I will grant, Vitali Klitschko was a good fighter. His brother was too. He held the championship for a long time, but you can't put either one of them in the category of a Muhammad Ali or a Rocky Marciano or a George Foreman or Joe Frazier or Joe Louis. Come on, you got to be ridiculous. Or even Ezra Charles. Come on, Ella. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that segment. And we're going to right now switch over. And by the way, before I say that, I said it earlier, but where do you rank Usyk? Let me know. Wherever you listen to the program, let me know where you rank him. But right now, we're going to get to a little music here, going up the street down the street, actually, from where I live in Thailand to Australia. This is the group Surprise Chef. And they're going to play right now. This is on the Big Crown Records. And we're going to play Websites. So let's hear that on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Dedicated to all my favorite websites.
Man, I really like Supreme Chef, and that was a website by them. great little group there out of Australia, and I'm going to be playing some more of their music as well as other music from over here. Unless I get banned, that song will probably get banned in Russia and Belarus, because every time I play music on here, they ban my music. And if I play some, just anything, they just ban it. I don't understand. Maybe one day, because I'm not that far away from either of those countries, maybe I'll go over to one of those countries in DJ form. They'll probably put me in prison, but anyway, hope you enjoyed the music. And I hope you enjoyed the whole show today, the Usyk versus Holyfield fight. And if you got a request, if you want to see two guys or women get it on this program, because we do what if fights on here, let me know. Wherever you listen to this show, just let me know. Drop me a line. There's so many other folks there over the years. Just let me know. But we're going to get ready to get out of here right now. We want to say, as we always do, go in love and go in peace. Help someone along the way. We're on this big blue ball together. So when you get up in the morning, get up, hug yourself, and just say you love yourself. And make it an effort. Just say in your mind, today I'm going to help somebody. I'm going to make somebody smile. And sometimes I might be just helping yourself and make your own self smile, but a lot of people don't make their own selves laugh or help their own selves. So do what you can in your community, wherever you live in this universe, your prefecture, your gated community, wherever you are, farmland, do what you can. Pick up trash in your neighborhood, help a young person, help a senior in need. If you see an animal in distress, help them, but do what you can. Because we're in this beloved community together, so do what you can to make it a better place. But again, this is Greg Rashid here live in Thailand. Go in love and go in peace. We'll see you next time on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. Swadee krap and take care.
Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Please become a member at patreon.com under the title Ringside Fantasy Fights and News. See you next time.